Welcome to part 4 of our great big massive amazing American adventure road trip of 2023. In the last episode we had just landed in Roswell, New Mexico, so get ready to see us probe the town, then continue our travels through deserts to the Wild West. Day 12 finished with a long drive to get from Albuquerque to Roswell, and by the time we got to the motel the sun was going down, and the woman at the check-in desk wasn't encouraging when we asked about going out at night. So we kicked back and relaxed in the motel. Day 13 was our chance to start exploring Roswell, New Mexico. The town is world famous as the site of a potential UFO crash, and they really know how to make the most of what it is that makes them famous. We headed along to the International UFO Museum and Research Centre to see if it would blow our minds. I guess they don't get many visitors from Scotland. I haven't seen a museum dedicated to so few facts and so much imagination since I visited the Loch Ness Monster Museum. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, so I did my best not to laugh just in case I caused offence. We had a wander up the main street and a milkshake in the UFO-shaped Mackie D's. It was nice to have a day off where we weren't covering mega miles in the car, and I'm really sorry to the chap at the planetarium. I didn't mean to fall asleep, but your chairs were so reclined and so comfy and the room was so dark, I couldn't help myself. Back to the motel to get ready for day number 14. A fresh morning and back in the driver's seat. We didn't see any UFOs in Roswell, but we did have a close encounter with a chemically advanced local who offered to come and cut my lawn when he found out that we were from Scotland. Not sure about that one. It'll be another long day's drive, but at least the route out of Roswell is far more interesting than the road in. The first roadside attraction was Fox Cave, built into the cliff face and said to have been a hiding place of Billy the Kid. The real surprise was the museum out back. In these porta cabins were artefacts from the Titanic, costumes from Elvis, Liberace and Elton John, and a gold sheriff badge that was presented to Pat Garrett for shooting Billy the Kid. Amazing stuff in here. Now that was meant to be a 5-minute visit, but it was far too interesting, and it's still 80 miles to our next stop. Off in the distance you can just make out the next destination, but we have to drop down onto the valley floor before we can get there. I really wish I had spotted that this was a kettleweight in the middle of the road. The sound was way worse than the damage it caused. I couldn't see any marks on the underside of the car. The landscape flattened out again as we pulled into the incredible White Sands National Park. The White Sands National Park covers an area of 230 square miles and is composed of about 4.5 billion tonnes of gypsum sand crystals, and it's incredible. It really was like being on another planet. I can't put into words how amazing the place was. Just look at some of these pictures. A truly remarkable place, and for the second time in this holiday, I find myself in the film locations of my favourite film, Convoy. Although this isn't Arizona, it's New Mexico, and by the laws of the national park, you're not allowed to drive a truck here, so it's kind of artistic licence. As much as we could have stayed here all day, we still have to get to our next motel. It was a long drive up over the mountains from White Sands Desert, but we finally made it to Las Cruces for tonight's motel. Are we really heading for El Paso tomorrow? Day 15, and sorry to disappoint, but we are not going to Texas. We are heading west back to Arizona, but not before setting eyes on the world's biggest chili. More roadside madness. This was a day to get miles covered, 250 of them to be precise. We stopped here after 80 miles to grab a milkshake from the Dairy Queen. Our next destination is on that board, 140 miles away. You can't drive along I-10 without stopping at the thing. Dun dun dun. This was a classic, quirky roadside attraction. Lots of questions asked, but nowhere near as many questions as I had when I left. What exactly is the thing? Well, you find out in the last room. Is it evidence of aliens? Tell you what, it's more factual than that museum in Roswell anyway. After a long day of driving, we checked in and thought we would go out for dinner, especially when it's Saturday night and we are in Tombstone, Arizona. Yes, the famous Tombstone, Arizona. Unfortunately though, at 8 PM on a Saturday night, we didn't have a lot of options. We walked into Doc Holiday's saloon, where the barmaid told us they only have $1 pizza on the menu. That cost us $12. The $1 is what they paid for it, so you can imagine how tasty it was. Real classy surroundings, and all these cowboys might have been intimidating if they weren't all queued up for a shot on the karaoke machine. Tombstone will get explored fully in daylight, but not tomorrow. We have something else planned. Day 16, and we head away from Tombstone for the day. This might seem like a really strange idea, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. Oh, what's that to the right? I always wondered where the Volkswagen farm was, but it doesn't look like this year's crop's going to be up to much. About an hour north on I-10 was somewhere we really wanted to see, but it is only open Thursday to Sunday, so we had to do it today. Among the saguaro cactuses just south of Tucson, and at the end of a road that would give you travel sickness and seasickness, is the old Tucson Film Studios. Primarily it's a theme park now, but filming still happens here from time to time. But when it was a film studio, Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas filmed Gunfight at the OK Corral here, John Wayne filmed Rio Bravo and McClintock. More recently, you might recognise it as the set from The Three Amigos.
What is that? I think it's a mail plane. How can you tell? Well, didn't you notice its little balls?
But look it up on Wikipedia, there are thousands of things filmed here, you're guaranteed to have seen at least one of them. If you've watched my Rewound and Found videos, you will know that I love visiting film locations, so this was great, and the actors and staff who put on the shows throughout the day were absolutely fantastic. This is well worth a visit if you're able to get here. Really, it is well worth a visit. They practically had to throw us out at the end of the day. We had planned to drive through Saguaro National Park, but it was too late by the time we left, though we did see plenty of them from the road and stopped off to have a look at them in close-up. It was too easy to forget that we were still an hour and a half away from our hotel, and it was a long drive. Now by this point we'd done about 2,500 miles of driving, and other than the kettle wait, we hadn't had any incidents. And then there was this guy. That was the closest I'd come to seeing a crash on my dashcam. The rest of the journey was quite pleasant, but we got back when it was dark. A night's sleep before we explore Tombstone tomorrow. Today we were riding into the town of Tombstone, Arizona. Even when I say it now making this video, I can't believe I've actually been there. But before we got to the town itself, we stopped in at the Boot Hill Cemetery. Don't blame me for some of the language used on the grave markers, it was different times. And these are the graves of the cowboy gang, that were shot and killed by the Earps at the shootout at the OK Corral, a place we will visit when we get to Tombstone. When we got the car parked and arrived in Tombstone, we were just in time for the reenactment that takes place on the actual site of the OK Corral. Old Tombstone was great. Touristy, but great. Loved the gravel road and the boardwalks. On the way back to the motel, I stopped and grabbed a picture outside here, but I was too scared to go in. Then we returned to the motel and watched the sun going down over the mountains. This is definitely what travelling's all about, and it fair warms the soul. Even if filming took 2 hours, sitting outside in the freezing cold. Day 18 is our last full day in Arizona. Well done for watching this far, and don't worry, it will be over soon. Tonight we will be staying near Tucson, only an hour away, so we have time to go and visit some places on the way. Instead of heading north from Tombstone, we headed south on Highway 80 to the small town of Lowell, Arizona. Most of Lowell was swallowed by the open cast mine, which itself is spectacular. But the small part of the town which survived was abandoned until recently, when Erie Street was saved and turned into an outdoor museum. And how good is this place? We had breakfast at the Bisbee Breakfast Club here, and as usual with an American breakfast, you order one thing each and 4 plates full of food arrived. That'll keep us going for the rest of the day. We kept heading south, and we were able to see the fence that marks the southern border with Mexico. We have now stood at the northern and southern borders of the USA as well as both coasts. Another tick off the bucket list. We seemed to be getting far too much attention from the border patrol when we were stopped here, so we decided to head back north towards Tucson and our final bed of the holiday. We'd forgotten, of course, that we'd booked into a gated RV community and we felt very out of place. Have you ever seen that film Cocoon? I mean, it was clean, safe, quiet, so absolutely no complaints. And the best bit about staying here is it was only half a mile from our last planned visit of the whole trip. Day 19. our last day in the USA. Our flight home was due to take off at 8 PM, giving us time for a last activity, but British Airways wasn't finished trying to spoil our holiday. That morning we woke to an email telling us our flight had been cancelled, and we'd been booked on an American Airlines flight from Phoenix at 5 PM. We'd just lost 3 hours of our holiday and we were 2 hours away from Phoenix. But why let that stop us visiting the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson? It just meant that it really had to be a flying visit.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
This was a brilliant last visit of the holiday, and would you believe it, the sun was so strong we were actually starting to get sunburnt about 2 hours before we left America. What is it with this holiday and weather?
Dangerous times, don't fly too high.
Well, it was time for the journey home to begin. So we joined the I-10 and headed north, back towards Phoenix and the airport. Why is it the driving is always most stressful coming into and out of the airport? But we finally get Dodgy, the Charger, back into the car hire centre. And what was the final score on the mileometer? 2,794 miles we covered. Time for our last couple of breaths of fresh air before we seal ourselves into the airports and the airplanes and the air conditioning and start that long journey home. And I thought the British Airways seats were uncomfortable, but geez, these American Airways seats were so small. That's 24 hours of my life that I didn't enjoy. Looking forward to the next one, but, and I hope you've enjoyed these videos. We've really enjoyed the holiday. If you want to see more of our travels, you'll find the video of our 2017 road trip from Georgia, Tennessee and Florida right here. And then in 2019 we did a road trip in California and Nevada, which you can find right here. Thank you very much for watching all the episodes. And remember to check out my channel for more videos you might like. Take care and goodbye.